Hello friends, welcome back to my series on the 7 layers of a food forest. This is part 3, the shrubs. Um, my food forest has 6 of the 7 layers. Even though I just started planting it earlier this year, uh, the one missing layer is the understory. And that's because I haven't planted any really large trees that are over 10 feet tall. Um, which would qualify them as part of the understory. They will get over 10 feet tall, and many of them will get over 30 feet tall and become part of the canopy. But as for now, they're down in the shrub layer. Um, and just a quick overview, a reminder of why is it important to have 7 layers in a food forest. 7 layers gives you a garden that's self-maintaining in many ways. Okay, it gives you fertility. You don't have to bring any fertilizer into the system. It gives you mulch, which leads to that fertility. It gives you moisture retention, so you don't have to water as much. And it gives you mulch that helps with the water retention, and it gives you shade that helps with that. And if you have all 7 layers and a lot of diversity in at least 6 of those layers, all but the canopy, then you're going to have a lot of diversity in your wildlife, your birds, your insects, your reptiles, your amphibians, everything. And that gives you pest control. And that's what you want. You want a functioning food chain at all levels. And if you have that, you're going to have pest control. You're not going to have pest problems. So just a reminder why you need all 7 layers. This garden has 6 of the layers. So let's get into the shrub layer, the 3rd layer in my series here. The shrub layer is really fascinating to me. It's where lots of things happen. I described the highest canopy layer as being the most important. It sets the tone for the entire garden, and without it, you really cannot have a food forest. And then the understory layer is where you get a lot of food production. So I've planted a lot of fruit and a few nut trees to be my understory. So they'll be coming, and starting next year, some of those will be more than 10 feet tall. So my understory will start to develop next year in 2026. But down at the shrub layer now, you have another opportunity for a lot of food production, but it's also a layer that gives you a tremendous amount of ecological value, because a lot of the shrubs, you're going to have a mix of, in your shrubs, you're going to have a mix of food producing shrubs versus what are called support shrubs or support plants in a food forest. Wait till that car goes by. And a big way that the shrubs support the food forest is if they're flowering shrubs, they're going to help you a lot to attract lots of pollinators. The more pollinators you attract with the more different kinds of flowering plants, the more you're going to attract predators, insect predators, bird predators, even lizards. Lizards can be predators, and even frogs and toads. These are all predators. The more predators you have in your system, the less you're going to have any pest problems in the food forest. So yeah, the shrubs are great because you've got your edible shrubs and your flowering shrubs. And on the flowering shrubs, you're looking for native shrubs. That's what you want, because that's going to attract your native pollinators and your native predators. Take this beautyberry right here in Central and North Florida. Beautyberry's very common. It's a beautiful little shrub, and this is a nice plant because it also serves as a food plant, because you can eat the berries and make jellies and jams, and probably could make some wine and stuff like that. So it's both an edible plant and a support plant, both in one. So a good example. And we're just going to go through. I by no means have all of the shrubs that you could have in Central Florida and North Florida, but I've got a pretty good number here. Like I said, I just started planting this garden this year. I only have 2 spots left for trees, and one of those trees is in my greenhouse. I'm going to wait and put it in the ground in the spring because it's somewhat tropical. It is good down to the low 20s, that being white sapote. And then I've got a spot picked out for one more Japanese persimmon. After that, I'll be done planting my trees, but I am nowhere near planting all my shrubs yet. I've got a bunch in the ground, but so that's another thing. The fewest number of plants at each level is the canopy is going to be the least. I've got 9 very large trees here on 1/3 of an acre. That's about right. My rough rule of thumb on the big canopy trees is 30 trees per acre. This being 1/3 of an acre, that would work out to 10 trees, and I've got 9. And these are pretty big trees. The thing is, some of the trees that I planted will someday get over 30 feet tall, so they're going to add to the canopy. So many years from now, I'll actually have more than 10 canopy trees here on this 1/3 of an acre, and it'll start to get pretty shady. But that's okay. I like the shade. We need that more shade in Florida because it gets so hot. I'm just about done. I'm totally done with the canopy layer. I'm just about done with the understory layer, and I'm working on my shrub layer now. Beauty berries, one of the first things I went after to start filling in my shrub layer. Here's another really good one, winged sumac. Another reason why you want to use native plants for these support plants is they grow well here. This is where they've evolved. So you shouldn't have much of a problem growing these plants. Just get them in the ground, water them a little bit at first. It shouldn't take long for them to become established. And then they're used to our seasons, they're used to our rainfall patterns and our temperature patterns, and they'll do fine. Winged sumac, by the way, you can eat the berries. You can make a nice tea, actually, out of the berries in the fall. It tastes sort of like apple cider. Here's another great one. I did a video just on this plant alone, and that's wax myrtle. It's a nitrogen fixer, so that's another good thing about your shrubs. I mean, you can also get nitrogen fixing trees. Mimosa comes to mind, but there's others. But also nitrogen fixing shrubs like wax myrtle are real important. And all of these native shrubs are great for supporting birds. They're going to be eating the berries. And they're just great for the overall ecology and support that you need to have a good, robust food chain going in your garden. Let's keep moving along here and see what other shrubs we can find. Now, this is a non-native but edible shrub. It can get over 10 feet tall and become part of the understory, but this is pineapple guava, and it's unlike most of the guavas, it's really more of a warm temperate plant. It can take cold temperature. It's a nice evergreen plant, a really nice little plant to have in your garden. I never found them to be highly productive in terms of the fruit they make, but it's still a pretty good plant to have around. Now, here's a really good one for me. I like to drink coffee, and this is Yaupon holly. It could also get to be more than 10 feet tall and become part of the understory, but it's rather slow growing, and it'll take a while to get that high. In the meantime, it's nice for the shrub layer. If we ever have some kind of a breakdown in world trade and we lose the ability to go down to the store and buy some coffee, I can make some tea out of these leaves. It's very high in caffeine. I drink coffee for other reasons besides the caffeine, but I don't have a problem with the caffeine either. That's just another wax myrtle there. These figs I will prune down below 10 feet tall. I'm going to prune my figs to grow almost 10 feet, probably about 8 to 9 feet tall, and just as wide as they will get. And I'll prune them hard every year, and all the new growth will produce fruit. So figs in the shrub layer. Let's keep moving along here, see what else we've got. More wax myrtles in here. Here's a nice shrub. This is saltbush, native Florida. Got covered. You see them; they're covered this time of year. This is late November. They're covered with white flowers, and excellent for the wildlife around here. Let's see more. These are just some shrubs that I'm trying out. I don't really know if it's going to work out. This is a non-native shrub called a glory bower. They have really amazing flowers, so they definitely, help with the pollinators. The more diversity, the better, even if you go with non-natives, but you need to have a base of a lot of natives. But if you want to add more diversity by adding some non-natives flowers, that's great. I'm passing by a lot of flowers here that I'll be talking about next in the herb layer, the beach sunflower and Biden's alba, but those are herbs, not shrubs. So let's keep moving along. Here's a nice flowering native shrub called Walters viburnum. It'll flower more profusely in the spring. This is the dwarf Walters viburnum. I think it's called Mrs. Schiller's Delight, something like that. Now let's get into some more edible shrubs. This is a native Florida blackberry with spines. I also grow some varieties of spineless blackberry, thornless blackberry. And in fact, here's some right here. So these, again, we just started planting things. These were just planted about a month ago or less. Some more, another variety. These are all low chill varieties of blackberries, thornless blackberries. Let's keep looking around for some more shrubs. There's your Florida saw palmetto, a good native Florida shrub, highly drought tolerant. The more diversity you have, the better in your food forest. So doesn't always have to be an edible plant. Of course, people do collect the saw palmetto berries, and I think there's a pretty lucrative market. You can sell those to overseas markets. I'm not sure if they're effective for what they're sold for, but maybe. Let's keep going here. We talked about the sumac. Oh, there's another good shrub here. This is Mysore raspberry. Not a true raspberry, but a tropical raspberry look-alike. Really highly productive plant, excellent for Central and North Florida. Let's keep moving along. We've got some more herbaceous layer plants here and more shrubs that we've already talked about. Let's keep going and find some more shrubs. This little bay laurel tree will not be over 10 feet for several years. So you could say it's in the shrub layer for the next few years. Of course, the quintessential edible shrub for food forests, the blueberry. This is a rabbit-eye blueberry, and we've also got some southern highbush blueberries. These are all small plants that we just put in the ground. But yeah, blueberry. Blueberries are pretty demanding. They like really rich soil. Interesting thing about them is that they like to have their own little mycorrhizal network that they don't share with other plants. They're a little bit unusual. So they're not part of the two major wood wide web networks of mycorrhizae fungi. They've got their own little special mycorrhizal fungi just for them. And so you want to mulch them really heavily. You really don't need to have any ground covers around them or anything like that, because you want a lot of saprophytic fungi breaking down their mulch so that their little mycorrhizal fungi can then pick up those nutrients and distribute them amongst your blueberries. Let's keep moving along here. This is a Suriname spinach. Suriname cherry. So this is a small tree. Someday it might be over 10 feet tall, but I think that's going to be many years. So that'll be in the shrub layer until then. There's some tropical stuff in here. Here's an excellent shrub. Rosemary. I love some rosemary. My wife makes a nice rosemary bread that I really enjoy. I mean, even things like the avocado here, it's going to be a few years before they're over 10 feet tall, so they'll be occupying the shrub layer. There's a perennial pepper plant called cachucha pepper from the Caribbean. Here's a fairly short-lived perennial tropical shrub, cranberry hibiscus, the green form of it. We've got some over here. We'll walk over here in a minute and we'll catch some of the ones that are the red form. Let's see, this is the dwarf firebush, and I'm thinking that's not the native either. I'm thinking that's the one that's very similar to the native, but it's a different species. Let's keep walking through the garden. Chaya, a tropical leafy green, can grow up higher than 10 feet, but most of the time you're going to keep it pruned, especially here where we're at, because if it gets too tall, it'll just get burned by the frost. And keep it nice and low, and it'll probably fare better against the cold weather. This is cherry of the Rio Grande, a little tree that produces an edible berry. Very cold tolerant, very well suited for Central and North Florida. And eventually it'll get over 10 feet tall, but it'll take many years. So let's see what else we got. Over here is a couple of examples of the red form of the cranberry hibiscus. These tropical hibiscuses are pretty short-lived perennials, so 2 or 3 years is about what you can get out of them. These are also known as false roselle. The true roselle isn't really an annual here. So the false roselles at least will grow longer than the true roselles. Okay, let's keep going. This little cassava is growing like a shrub until we get a harder freeze, and then it's going to die back to the ground. Let's see what else we got here. Just more examples. By the way, this is just sweet viburnum, very commonly used in this part of the world as a privacy screen, a hedge plant, and that's what we're using it for here. And by getting it really thick, and it'll grow over 10 feet tall. So in this location, really thick and over 10 feet tall, it's beyond it, that's the north. So the north wind's coming at us. This big tall shrub hedgerow here will help block that and keep those cold north winds out of our garden. Here's just some more blueberries. Elderberry will definitely become part of the understory, and it's fast growing, so it's not really a shrub. It is for now, but it won't be for much longer. And some more blueberries. And I think that just about covers it. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else obvious. I might have missed something, but I'm not seeing anything else real obvious. So, but the height, I didn't cover that. The height of your shrubs is from about 3 feet to 10 feet. So 30 to 60 for the canopy, 10 to 30 for the understory, 3 feet to 10 feet for the shrubs. That way, when we're discussing these gardens with each other, when someone mentions their shrubs or their understory, it gives us an idea of what they're talking about. Nature doesn't care, but it's just for the purposes of communication more than anything else. All right, that's it for today's video, y'all. Take care now.